Welcome to the Wizard of Cause, your go-to podcast for social impact, where we speak to innovative businesses, how they give, and of course, the charities that they love and inspire them. Now, whether you're an entrepreneur, a startup founder, or a business professional looking to stay ahead of the curve, the Wizard will show you how to build lasting social impact on the world. Are you ready to grow, give, and be inspired? Let's get started.
Hey, are you looking to scale your business from 5 figures to 6 figures or 6 figures to 7 figures? If you are, I have the perfect thing for you. What I want you to do today is I want you to go download a book. This book is going to take you through my 3-pillar system. It's 100% free. All you have to do is go to growfast.cash. I say again, go to growfast.cash, and you're going to be able to download my free international best-selling book, which is called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. You can take that book. It's going to help you scale your business to the next level. Again, go download it. Be good, be brief, be gone. Growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash. Enjoy.
Again, Kelli, thank you for being here with us this morning. Kelli, for some reason, that's Kelli with an I. I feel there's a smiley face on top of that. So that makes it a little happier when it's Kelli. Kelli with an I. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm having a really good day today. So yeah, thanks for having me.
This is not my first time being able to talk with a Kelli. Kelli is very down to earth. She makes my job a little bit easier on this, can talk very matter-of-factly, but of course, she deals with some of the uglier parts of life, right? And because she faces that down and she helps people, and let's face it, sometimes the worst hour, the worst day of what feels like of their life. Well, sitting down with a goofball like me is no big deal. This is a lot easier job. So again, welcome, Kelli. Kelli is the founder of Make Mental Health Matter.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about that, because I'm going to tell you right now. This, sharing the credit is part of also this strategic advisor board, right? A group of CEOs. And we have had 15 million impressions, that is pairs of eyeballs, in the last 90 days. And I was having a background discussion after the last time you and I met, and it was like Roman candles were going off in the room, right? I don't know if it's that time of year, if there's such a thing, or if it's just enough crises in the world. But I was specifically told, get Kelli on this show.
Nice.
Get this. So tell us a little bit about your group and why you started it.
Absolutely. I actually founded it. So formerly we were BCC Evolution, recently rebranded to Make Mental Health Matter, but I founded it in 2018 after I lost my middle sister, who died by suicide on February 20th, 2017. And I honestly was not educated myself. I didn't know how to help her. I didn't know how to help others. She actually had attempted suicide 6 other times, 5 years prior to when she completed. And
Oh, wow.
I honestly at that point was kind of shut off to her. I had a new baby, and I was really trying to protect myself. And that's why I think I missed a lot of the signs that I could have potentially recognized when she was really crying out for help. And so when she died, I made a choice that I was going to make an impact. And I always say, even if it's only one person at a time, I've done my job. But ultimately, that one person,
Amen.
my one story, that one person, my one story has now evolved into way bigger than I ever thought I could possibly reach. And really, I just wanted to make an impact. I got myself educated. I started taking classes. I've gotten probably way more certifications than anybody in their lifetime needs. But it has helped me in my healing journey, and being able to have conversations like this is also a big part of what I do. Even I have my own TV and radio show, and that's what it's all about, the conversation. It's all about how we create connections with others and get ourselves educated so that we can help and support those that might be struggling, whether it is suicidal thoughts or a mental health challenge or substance abuse challenge or whatever challenge you want to insert in there. We all really struggle, and mental health is one of those key like buzzwords that you hear right now, and maybe that's where all the fireworks were coming from, but it's really something that's important. Your mental health, it's your brain, and you should really take care of it just like your physical health. And that's what I've learned over time. We're now in our 6th year, and we're really truly saving lives through education and educating everyday people like you and I to support even the mental health world, because it's so inundated right now that we cannot support those that are in need. So why not stick all of us that are around those people on a daily basis to actually be able to help them? And that's what we're doing.
I did you read that from a thing? Because that was too perfect. That was just, huh? Is that a pre-read? Because
No,
it
not
didn't
at
come
all.
across,
No.
but it was so ready, right? Okay, so let me ask you a question. So you rebranded. Why specifically a rebrand in of itself? Did you think the old one, the name wasn't encapsulating enough, or was there a particular shift that made you jump?
Yeah, so had I known anything about business when I first started my nonprofit, I probably would have done a better job of naming it. But I had originally named it because I was in a partnership and a collaboration with another nonprofit, and it was actually 3 names. My sister's name was Carrie, and then my other nonprofit partner, she lost her daughter and her husband. And so we actually had added all the names, and that's where BCC actually came from. But it also, I thought about blind carbon copy email, and you can put a whole bunch of names there and nobody knows who's there. And that's how I've always looked at mental health, is it's there, but you may not know it's there. And that's kind of really where it stemmed from. But then evolution is we were ever evolving. And the thing about that, though, is people often probably thought we were kind of like alien of evolution. I don't know. So I got to a point that I was not sick of telling people what we do, but also just like trying to explain what the name is. And we kind of hit roadblocks with marketing. And our tagline was "Make Mental Health Matter." And I was like, why shouldn't that be our name? And the main reason we did make mental health matter, because we're really taking action towards mental health. We're not just saying that mental health matters. We're making it matter so
Right.
that people actually get educated. And then that's where we made the shift into make mental health matter. And really, BCC Evolution is our overarching name and always will be. But it just
DBA
flows
is
better. Yeah,
right. Okay.
it flows better.
I get it. I'm just saying, if there's so much tragedy that leads you into this story. I might need a hug when we're done. So if that's,
Absolutely, yes.
I don't know how we, but but the problem is that sometimes, the old proverb is, somebody's got to be hurt at this intersection before they put up a light or a stop sign, right?
Yeah.
And then, but it's not a problem until it's an explosion, and then we see it so clearly, and it's probably like, and as I like to say, there's a difference between an occupation and a vocation, right? Latin vocatus, right? Vocalize means something is a calling, right? You're driven to it. And although it wouldn't have been necessarily a vocation for you early in your life, you've got this thing that's always pushing toward you. I wish I could have saved you, and your family of that pain. I'm glad you're though there acting as the catcher in the rye for us, right? Because like blind carbon copy. You don't know what's all going around in the background. Okay, so uh, you're going to have to forgive me at this point. I have to ask the talk show question.
Yeah.
The Kelli, why is mental health so important?
Yeah, I mean, it seems
I
like
mean, as
such
if your
a
background
yeah,
and your
right.
story and everything
Yeah,
doesn't scream that, right?
right.
Like Mount Rushmore from the background,
Yeah.
but in your own words, it's kind of that grab everybody by the scruff of the neck. If you could tell everybody at one time, what would you? So what was that thing you would tell them? And how this is so important and affects them. Although so much of us we avoid it, right? We've got to be
Mm.
strong, we've got to be tough. Everybody's dealing with this kind of thing, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
What's your answer here?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a topic, right, that everybody's talking about. But the thing about it is important. I mean, like I said, mental health is actually your brain. It's not everybody has a mental health challenge. Not everybody has an illness or a disorder or disease or whatever you want to call it. I like to use the word challenge because it feels a little less attachive. That's not a word, attachive, but it is today. So
I know what you
I
meant. I went there
yeah.
with you. It's
Yeah.
fine.
I love the word challenge because it doesn't label us. And again, we can all experience a mental health challenge at some point in our life, and most likely we will. And it can be depression or anxiety. It doesn't necessarily have to be one of those illnesses that you experience for the rest of your life. But the great part about having these conversations is that we are really truly breaking down the stigma. We're having open conversations saying, hey, I'm not okay today. Like, I wish that I could walk around with a sign and be like, I'm not okay today, but I don't need you to fix me. I just need you to know that. Right. And how cool would that be to have a society that we can walk around and actually show our true feelings and not have to worry about being judged? And really, that's the whole point. We were really hyper focused on the suicide prevention aspect, hence because my sister died that way. But what I came to find is that a mental health challenge is generally what leads people to complete the act of suicide. So we're really trying to get to the root cause. It's not just about suicide
Wait,
prevention.
say that again. Say that
Yeah.
again for me. I think the teacher just restated something in class as if it's going to be on the test later, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So somebody that is already in a particular struggle and they get hit with a particular challenge, and that's the proverbial straw breaking the camel's back. I mean, is that what you were saying?
Yeah, most suicides are generally caused by a mental health challenge. It could be depression, it could be having like a manic episode, it could be having anxiety that leads into taking their own life. But really, the underside of suicide is that most people feel very, very alone. They also feel like they're a burden. There has been lots of reports that they don't know a way out from the pain that they're currently experiencing.
Mhm.
And so mental health is generally what leads people to complete the act of suicide. And that's what we're trying, at least with our nonprofit, to really get at, is the mental health challenge, to ultimately save lives.
Well, what the police had a song, "Message in a Bottle."
Mm, yeah.
He said, "Do you remember that song?"
Oh yeah.
He feels like I'm this lonely soul, so he just puts this message out in a bottle, see if there's anything out there, and one day he wakes up and there's 100 million bottles that have washed it, like people responding, like "Hello,
Yeah.
fellow survivor," right? I think if we had a sign that we held up and says, I'm not going through necessarily a mental schism today, but I'm not doing great either.
Mm,
I think you may see a continent of signs
yeah.
walking around at one time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's those good days where we're having a Coke and a hot dog and we're not thinking about bills and troubles and kids and everything else and the weight of it all. Um, but like you said, not everybody is necessarily right there, but we're all carrying a little something. There's
Yeah.
something addictive about your voice. I was thinking this last time we were talking. I think you remind me a little bit of somebody. I feel every time, you know how they say smell is most closely related to your memory, right? You ever smell
Mm-hmm.
something, you're 5 years old again? For
Oh
some
yeah.
reason, when we're sitting here chatting, last time we were sitting here chatting, I'm like, why do I feel like I'm 12 years old and running around on the beach? You remind me of a friend of mine. And we,
Nice.
is that voice. You have a very particular, maybe it's something you've learned how to be very soothing to people. And
Maybe I don't know. I I oftentimes when people come and talk to me, it's like verbal vomit all of a sudden, and it's really easy. I don't know. I guess I make it
verbal
really
vomit
easy.
is not, that's such an alien act, right? Nobody enjoys the. No, I'm saying it's
But
actually a little. Why do I feel I keep remembering being at the beach and running around with some friends, and it must be that
I
there's
love
a
that. I want to
there's
be on
a
a beach running around with friends. That
there's
sounds
11,
great.
12-year-old Kelly running around somewhere in the back of my brain when I'm 12 years old. We're, oh, hey, what's going on? Let's go run down here, right? Um, and get a hot dog and a Coke because that's what all the kids were doing.
Yeah.
So
Looking to grow your business beyond 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures plus, what I want you to do is go download this book. The title is called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. It will help you grow your business past 5, 6, and 7 figure. Go download the book today, growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash, and download the book for absolutely free.
of the last 9 of these I've done, make mental health matter is, I think, one of those things that if you really thought about it, and because you already have your own show, if we came back and did this every week, um, there are key points you would hit, but yet you would always be continually unpacking it, right? Um, but so here's a question: mental health, matter and does matter, and on getting people to grasp that, I tend to think nowadays that schools often miss big issues that they could hit on, right? I'm personally always upset that that the school system does not say, "Hey, children, we need to focus on finances."
Mhm.
And that is about as sexy as a root canal when you're talking to an 8-year-old, right? Or a 10 or 12-year-old running around the beach getting a hot dog and a Coke, right? Or 14 or 17 or 18. But it's not designed to help us for our long terms in life, right? And I think it's one of those things that would help. Um, if you could go back and install a very simplified curricula that would open itself up over time, where would you want to start in the education chain? Like, what's your age? And what's the simple thing you would say to some goofball that might be 8 years old mentally, right? But it doesn't, but that you would be sit there and say, these are the troubles we come up to in life, and it's best if we talk, right? So many of our families tell us it's okay, push it and hide it away, yada yada. I remember a time my son was telling me in church, I don't feel good.
Mm.
And I said, and then all of a sudden he's spraying what looks like oatmeal all over the place. And I'm trying to cap the fire hydrant with my hand. That was a mistake, Kelly. It just made it go in 360 degrees, Kelly. It was a bad day.
Yeah.
But for that mental imagery, right? But where would you say, if I could start inserting this as a little bit of education and a little almost like a PSA and start talking to children and introducing them to ideas, how young is too young? If Kelly had a genie in a bottle and she could do something with make mental health matter, where would she introduce this into it? Because the younger the better, right?
Mhm.
Baby, it's okay. You're going to stub
Oh yeah.
your toe. You're going to have a problem. This doesn't make you, well, we can be broken. We're all a little broken, right? But this doesn't mean you're defective. There's a difference between broken and
Yeah.
defective, right?
Yeah.
Where would you start?
So I keep getting drawn back to the middle school range. So my sister was an adult, but I just keep getting drawn back to the middle school range, because if you ask any person, and I'm sure if I asked you how your experience was in middle school or junior high, whatever they call it wherever you live, most of the answers I get was, oh man, that sucked. Like, that was a horrible period in my life. I mean, that's really where,
You're
like,
awkward, you're gangly, you don't
yes.
know how to do your hair, you can't figure out anything out.
Yeah. Well, and we have so many hormones happening during that time. Like, kids are just awkward, and then they're mean on top of that. And so middle school, actually, we're creating a program currently right now that is designed for middle school students because they don't have enough support. But I would even say that I am going to like try this out also in elementary, because I have a son, he's 9 years old, and we have talked about everything. I mean, he knows what I do. He knows that my sister died by suicide, whether he like fully grasps it or not. We had a conversation when he was 4 about guns, not something I ever imagined that I would be talking to my 4-year-old about, right?
No kidding.
Yeah. And we have had multiple conversations really over the past year about suicide in general, because he asked a lot of questions about death and God and all these things that have come up. And I'm like, where are these coming from? And as a mom, you're like, do I say, do I not say? Like, what do I or don't I say? And I honestly, I have been really transparent and much more open than my parents ever were when I was this young. And I would say it's never too soon, honestly, because if you're not talking about it, somebody else is. They're going to hear it from their friends. And that's where he's getting a lot of the information from, is from his friends or from other people. And so you have to have those conversations. And it may seem really, really scary to have those open conversations, because you're like, well, I don't know like what I should or shouldn't say. And one thing that I would say is, if you are talking about suicide, leave out any of the means. So don't tell them like the how-tos, but talk to them about what it means, like
Don't
the
plant a
finality.
seed, right.
Yeah. I mean, you'll never fully plant the seed, but you don't want to give them the ways, right? So like,
Right.
if they're having the thoughts, we want to be able to know, or let them know that you're that safe place, that they can come, that they can talk to you about anything. But the other thing is that, again, if you're not talking about it, kids are very loud. Kids will say whatever they want to, right? And it comes out all the time. Yeah, they're just like loud about their emotions and their feelings, and they will say things that are very, very mean. And if your kid is not prepared for that, or maybe you haven't had those other conversations in the past, then they're going to, kind of like we talked about earlier, we're going to shove it down, and then all of a sudden it's going to come out and explode. And so the way that we can help is to just have those open conversations. And again, I never, ever, ever thought I would be talking to a 4-year-old about gun safety, or even a 6-year-old about suicide, and now 8, 9, right? Like, as we go along, we talk more and more about it, because he knows what I do. And he said to me before that there was one day he broke down and he's like, I hate my life. And I was like, where'd that come from? My son is generally very happy, go lucky, right? Like, he plays video games and they get a little mean. And so, all the standard things. But one day he said, I hate my life. And I was like, where did that come from? And he started crying. And I was like, buddy, what's going on? And so we had this open dialogue, and I was like, you know that you can tell me anything and it's okay to cry. And he's like, no, it's not. And I was like, no, it is. And then we talked about like friends at school and how they would laugh at him if he was crying, and they were saying mean things. And so we had conversations about that. And I never, ever wanted to get to the place that I would have to ask my kid the question about suicide. Like, are you thinking about suicide? And I did. And the response that I got, he was like, he thought about it and he's like, I don't think so. And I was like, do you understand what I just asked you? And he's like, not really. So then we had another conversation about that, of like the finality of what it means to die by suicide or to kill yourself. And again, never, ever, ever in my lifetime would I ever thought that I would be talking to a 9-year-old about these things, but it is not too early, because kids are dying younger and younger. And I know in Colorado, at least, which is where I am, suicide is actually the first leading cause of death for ages 10 to 14.
Oh my word.
Yeah, over and above car accidents. It's the number one way that kids are dying in Colorado.
Oh, sweet Lord. Oh my golly. I've been too far away from church. I need to go. Oh my gosh. Golly. I knew that was the right question to ask when you go, I keep coming back to that because doing what you do, you're dripping with experience, right? Of this. It's just, how do you get it, all the knowledge out at one time, and you can't, which is why you have your own show. It recalls a thing to me, and that is they were talking about the public school system, right? And they were specifically talking about the grades and everything else. And as one principal in an urban school in a rough area, right? He said, and this is heartbreaking. He said, Kelly's like, bring it, right? I'm a gladiator at this, right? But it's still heartbreaking. He said, I can't teach you math if you don't want to stay on this planet. Right?
Yeah.
And what they were going with was the incredible trauma that they were having in their inner cities. And if they can't educate you, it's an ongoing cycle, right? It's not the man or somebody. People aren't trying to keep you down. They're not coming after you. If you're growing up in such an area and your life is falling apart and at school, the school's not doing what it needs to help you. And the school, they're studying this like crazy and they want to. He says, I can't teach you math if you don't want to stay on the planet. And I thought that was amazingly poignant, pithy statement, although kind of poisonous and tastes terrible, right? But they would open it up and go a little further. They said, if we go back, we look at them in elementary school, their grades are fine. They're happy. They're happy and their grades went together. If we get a middle school, they're pretty good. Upwards at the end of middle school, and we have awkward years. You see how fluffy my hair is getting, because for those of y'all that didn't catch, I'm in Savannah. We've just gotten 2 hurricanes. Not all the barbers are back. And in my teenage years, one of my school photos, I look like a Q-tip. I look like a well beaten up Q-tip because my family forgot it was school picture day, and I should have gotten shorn heavily. But he says, the children, and they're going through those awkward years. And he said, but it's already breaking down for them. So at the beginning of the middle school, they're still pretty good. But we can see that needle just and go down. He said, by the time high school, some of these kids, if I can keep them, if I'm lucky, till their junior year, right? And I'm so make mental health matter, Kelly.
Yeah,
with an I, right?
It's hard. I mean, schools have been one of our bigger challenges, to be honest. Like public schools, they say they want to make changes, but when you offer up different programs that could potentially help, it's a lot of red tape to jump through. So we have found that partnering with youth groups, charter schools, the alternative type schools have been easier, at least for our programming or Boys and Girls Club, things like that, versus the public schools, unfortunately. And again, I've tried multiple different districts, and it oftentimes is like, hey, let's have a conversation. What can we do together? And then it goes a whole different direction. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like if you're trying to implement it. If you don't want outside contractors or people coming in, that's fine. But let's make a change and for the better of the kids. And that's just heartbreaking that that teacher has to say that, because it's probably a good chunk of their community is they don't want to live anymore. And they've seen it, like you said, just fluctuate over time.
There's an old joke. It's a business joke, right? I'll tell it to you today. You know what a definition of a camel is?
Hmm.
It's a horse designed by a committee, right? Now imagine your average public school system, which is completely under the thumb of the entire government and all its people and all its 10,000 administrators and yada yada yada. They say too many cooks spoil the broth. You've got more spoons from more chefs that they can't fit them all in the pot, and then they've all got to direct it.
Yeah.
I don't want you to lose hope in this because I need you as catcher in the rye out there doing your good work. Like you said, if you affect one person, right? And there's the old story. I tell this to my children. We're very nautically minded. The other thing I want to say to you is swim with a buddy. In Georgia, we swim like crazy. You cannot get out of college without having a swimming course because we're on the water,
Yeah.
which is insane because it's Olympic-sized pool, and I swam from one end to the other underwater, and they said, "Okay, you passed the class," and I didn't have to go to school. I'm like, why am I here? Right? We have gills here, but we grow up swimming with a buddy. You have somebody you can talk to. Where's your swim buddy? Where's your swim buddy? And they blow that whistle. That's the stress call, right? I've got to be on the side. I got to hold the hand up. If it's me and Kelly swimming today, our fingers got to be interlocked. We're here. We're doing it together. Right? You're keeping me safe. I'm keeping you safe, right? So if you're underwater and not coming up, I know, right? And vice versa. But there's the old story. A man's walking along a beach and he sees somebody in the distance and he gets shorter and taller somehow. And he realizes as he's getting closer and closer, he's bending over. He gets right up to him and he does something. He says, "Hey, what are you doing?" He says, "Well, they're these little starfishes and they're getting washed up. And if they're here, the sun will kill them. So I'm throwing them back in the water." And the guy says, proverbially, "Of all the starfish and all the beaches of all the worlds, you cannot possibly make a difference." He bends over, he grabs one, throws it in the water. He says, "I made a difference to that one."
Yes, I love the starfish.
All the difference in the world, right?
Yeah.
This is Kelly. Kelly's out there saving all the starfish she can.
Yes.
Is there a plural to starfish? Starfishes? Starfish eye? I'm not sure.
Starfishes? I don't know.
I'm not sure. Kelly, now I'm going to put in here links so that if a business would like to support Make Mental Health Matter, I want you to get long-term funding anyway. But I know you've got your own show in a couple of pieces. Will you tell them to us now and make sure that we have the links so I can put the links in here? But go ahead and tell us about your show.
So the show is called the Make Mental Health Matter Show. I'm very creative. I know, weird. It is on TV and radio. It is on E360 TV, which streams out to a whole bunch of platforms, and then also Dream Vision 7 Radio, which also streams out internationally and nationally. And then it also is on YouTube and on our Facebook. So you can find it pretty much anywhere. And Make Mental Health Matter is also across all of the social media channels, even TikTok. I do TikTok. It is under Warrior for Mental Health under there, but all the rest are Make Mental Health Matter. And so you can really find us anywhere. Go to our website, which is makementalhealthmatter.org. There's lots and lots of resources on there. So if you are somebody that is struggling yourself, or you know somebody that needs some help, we have lots of resources on our page. Or maybe you just want to get educated, come take a class with me, because we also offer lots and lots of classes.
Awesome. Well, thank you once again for being on here. I love it every time we get together, although you give me so much bad news, but there's good news that goes with it. Thank you for that. And we will see you next time.
Yeah, thank you.
Looking to grow your business beyond 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures plus? What I want you to do is go download this book. The title is called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. It will help you grow your business past 5, 6, and 7 figure. Go download the book today. Growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash, and download the book for absolutely free.
baby! That's what I've been waiting for!
Dear God.